Ethan is officially done with Trisha Paytas, and Trisha Paytas is apparently done with drama. It's a mess, so let's get into it. So, after being banned for a week from YouTube, Ethan and the H3 crew finally posted their first video back and addressed all the drama that Trisha caused while they were banned. The episode was titled, "I'm Done with Trisha Paytas," and it's nearly 2 hours of calling out contradictions that Trisha has made just in the last week alone. Ethan literally went off in this episode. You could just tell he was so fed up with this whole situation and he wanted to lay it all out there and then move on with his life. Ethan has always been so accommodating with Trisha. You could just tell so many times during Frenemies, he would be walking on eggshells or trying to word things in a certain way that wouldn't trigger a walkout. I mean, even on the Mom's Basement podcast, FaZe Banks said to Trisha that he couldn't believe how patient Ethan was with them. Well, unfortunately for Trisha, Ethan's patience have officially ran out. The video starts off with Ethan saying he actually saw the notification that Trisha had followed Keemstar, and he really didn't think that much about it at first. He just thought Trisha was following Keem to keep up with the drama since they have that Enemies podcast now, and there was no way that Trisha would actually sink that low and go on Keem's podcast. Ethan said Trisha going on that podcast and talking so much crap about him was just the ultimate betrayal. He was so upset with Trisha, he actually wanted to private all the old Frenemies episode because Trisha's still being paid for those. Every month, Ethan sends them a pretty big check because they're still getting views and he just wants to be done with them financially and personally. Ethan pointed out how his only response to this ultimate betrayal was one tweet simply saying that this situation made him sad. In return for Ethan admitting that he was sad, Trisha posted 27 TikToks about him, a 47-minute video, and tweeted 23 times. Of course, there were other people that got involved, like Ethan's mom, Donna, but Ethan said that was just his mom trying to be protective. AB pointed out how tame Donna's response actually was compared to this whole situation and all the drama that Trisha has caused. Ethan pointed out multiple times how clear it was that Keemstar was just trying to use Trisha to get to him. When Trisha followed Keem, he was tweeting "get your popcorn" and just making it very public that Trisha and him were planning something. Why? Probably to get at Ethan. I mean, Trisha did say it themselves. In their video the other day, they said Keem was texting them after causing so much family drama for Ethan, saying "Oh, this is so great." Meanwhile, Trisha was getting so much hate for just going on the podcast. Trisha was literally just a chess piece in the feud that is Ethan and Keemstar. Ethan goes on to say the problem with Trisha is that they can't keep track of their own BS. Ethan played clips of Trisha contradicting themselves, saying they think Keemstar should be deplatformed. He even pulled up a clip from only 2 weeks ago where Trisha said Drama Alert is trash and they aren't that bottom of the barrel yet. Yet only a few days later, here we are. Speaking of Trisha's Enemies podcast, Ethan also called them out for that whole mess. Ethan was like, if you're gonna quit Frenemies because you thought our production quality was bad and lazy, you need to step it up. He said, stop filming in an empty, echoey room, go hire that editor and producer that you said Frenemies needed so badly, and step it up. Then Ethan moved on to that clip Keemstar posted to promote the episode with Trisha. A lot of people thought Keem picked this clip because it shows Trisha being extremely hypocritical in regards to Keemstar and his girlfriend, but Ethan has another theory. He thinks Keem picked that clip because the camera pans over to the other people in the room and it shows Moses there. Moses is Hila's brother, and Keem said some pretty nasty stuff about Hila before, so people are saying how can Moses be in the same room as someone that said such horrible things about his sister? Moses actually addressed why he went on TikTok and said, I didn't go to meet him. I went to support my wife, make sure that she's safe and be a witness to what was said, in case it won't air or be edited. Which I guess is a fair response, but also how about asking your wife not to go on a podcast with someone that called your sister names and put your family in an awkward position? Choices were made, and not very good ones. Then we got into what was said on the podcast, or actually what wasn't said. Trisha claimed they were going on this podcast to have a debate with Keem and to be an advocate for young girls not to date guys of Keem's age. Trisha kept saying just wait for the podcast, you guys haven't seen the podcast yet, just wait. Trisha really tried to make it sound like we were all gonna feel so dumb once this podcast aired. Well, now we know Trisha didn't debate Keem at all on the topic they originally went there for. They actually told him they hope his relationship will last forever. The majority of the podcast was about Ethan or frenemies. Ethan actually put together a compilation of clips just to show how much Trisha and Keem bonded over their dislike of Ethan. Ethan also pulled up a clip from the No Jumper podcast with Keem, and he admitted Trisha and him ended up bashing Ethan a lot during the podcast.
Out, even though we're going to rush it, but what was discussed?
We talked about so many topics and like just bang, bang all over the place, and we ended up bashing Ethan a lot. You know, Ethan has some flaws, and you know we've all experienced them firsthand. Ethan and Banks have had beef. Trisha and Ethan have had beef. Obviously, me and Ethan have beef. And so that was the one common thing that kind of connected all of us is, you know, us criticizing Ethan. So
I feel like if Trisha had gone on the podcast and actually debated Keem and held up to the opinions they've been so vocal about in regards to him in the past, then maybe people would have been like, okay, maybe this isn't so bad, maybe we overreacted. But once Trisha was in front of Keem, their opinion they've held on him for the last year just magically vanished. Ethan also called Trisha out for trying to claim that the H3 fans were the only ones sending them hate, and Ethan said his audience is actually their audience too. They had a blended podcast together, people loved them as a duo, and Ethan even pointed out that Frenemies got way more views than his normal podcast. The people leaving Trisha negative comments aren't just H3 fans. These are longtime Trisha fans. Ethan then talked more about how Keemstar used Trisha and how obvious it was during the episode. Only 30 minutes into the podcast, Keemstar cuts Trisha off and says, "I'm so sorry. We have to cut this short because our producer has to go." Ethan was like, how can you schedule a podcast, especially one that's so big and important and probably is going to get 10 times the views than their normal podcast, and only have a 30-minute time slot to complete it? Now keep in mind, most of Keemstar's podcast episodes are like anywhere from 40 minutes to over an hour. So this one was cut really short. I wonder why. But now we know why though. The producer didn't actually have to go. They just had Gabby Hanna on their way over there. The producer probably got a text from Gabby saying that she's on her way, and they were like, oh, we gotta get Trisha out of here. Ethan says this just shows how willing Trisha is to let Keem use them only to get to Ethan. Then you guys, I couldn't believe Ethan said this, and I was dying. Ethan says Trisha's two biggest icons are Gerard Way and Adam Sandler, and they need to get a restraining order from Trisha, like ASAP. Ethan said Trisha's out here walking around in Adam Sandler's clothes and calls it abnormal behavior. Trisha has this obsession with collecting clothes from Adam Sandler, and Ethan just thinks it's so weird, and he needs to run and get an order against Trisha right now. Now guys, this is where the real tea gets addressed. Ethan pulls up Trisha's tweets where they told Ethan to have Gabby on the podcast and claimed they wouldn't care. Everyone had been saying to Trisha that if Ethan had Gabby on the podcast, they would have an absolute meltdown. So of course, Trisha had to act completely unbothered and said Ethan should do it. Well, Ethan said that's actually not true. Apparently, Ethan told Trisha that Gabby tried to come onto his podcast after Frenemies broke up, but said to Trisha that he would never do that to them. Trisha themselves recorded and uploaded a video after the last unaired Frenemies episode where they said this.
He did show me something. I'm not gonna like tell him what it was because I don't want to like put this on blast, but he did show me something that, and he's like, I would never do that to you. Like, he showed me something that could have happened that didn't. And oh, this person's like right here. Fine. And do you know what I'm talking about? When he showed me that thing, and he's like, oh, maybe you don't know, but he showed me something that like would have like devastated me, like really like hurt me. Where he's like, I would never do that to you. Like, I'll tell you later. And that meant a lot. Like, I almost texted him just now. Oh, we just left, so I didn't want to be like that person I just texted. But anyways, it just meant a lot that like he didn't.
Ethan says Trisha was talking about Gabby trying to come on Ethan's podcast in that clip, and they literally admitted it would have devastated them. Ethan thinks it's funny how Trisha understands why that would be devastating back then, but going on Keemstar's podcast is totally okay now. It just goes to show Trisha changes their opinion to match whatever fits their story best. Ethan then went on to bring up something that I just know is probably going to make Trisha so mad. Ethan said when he first saw this, it actually disturbed him. It's a bunch of clips put together of Trisha saying David and Jason forced a dog on them without knowing, just for a vlog. But then it cuts to like 20 clips of Trisha once again contradicting themselves.
My dog was because of David and Jason. They just surprised me with it for a vlog and made me keep it, even though I never asked for a dog.
And yes, we did talk about this. For everyone who's like, oh my god, you can't just surprise someone with a puppy. I have been wanting a puppy for a really long time.
We had talked about it for a while, that I wanted a Pomeranian, that my mom would help me take care of it.
Just to be clear, we did talk about this, and the plan was to maybe give the dog to Trisha's mom, who really wants a Pomeranian. So
Yeah, I've always said I wanted a Pomeranian, but my mom would have to help me take care of it. So we're a team effort with this. I wanted a Pomeranian for a long time. Both me and my mom have wanted a puppy for so long. I live alone. My mom lives alone.
that was the color you wanted too, right?
Yeah, he's adorable. This color is just perfect. Everyone who meets him falls in love with him.
They just surprised me with it for a vlog and made me keep it.
We're gonna try and get some houses because we honestly want more. We just love this little guy so much.
We just love him so much, and hopefully that'll show in here.
We want 2 more. We want a little black one and possibly a white one.
I never asked for a dog.
Oh my god, let's go get a dog.
Want to go what?
You wanna go buy a dog today?
I never asked for a dog.
Can we get a dog?
Oh my god.
It upsets Ethan because Trisha talked about that a lot on the show, and he believed them and also thought it was pretty messed up. Meanwhile, it's not even true. Ethan said it's just disturbing how Trisha is openly lying to him and said they successfully ruined David and Jason's character with this lie. He's now questioning everything that Trisha has ever told him, and he's even wondering if Trisha used him as a platform to smear the people that they hate. Ethan said if Trisha's lying about something so mundane, he's really questioning everything they've ever said. Ethan finally moved on to the famous last episode of Frenemies that wasn't aired. Trisha has been very outspoken online about the last episode and how upset they were that it didn't air. Trisha felt like it completely cleared their name and made Ethan look like the bad guy, which is why he doesn't want it to air. Ethan says the last episode was a complete disaster. He thought they could come together for one last episode and have this very wholesome and beautiful experience, but as soon as they sat down, it went crazy. According to Ethan, it just turned into accusations and got really messy. He immediately regretted doing it and just wanted it to end. He said he didn't want to argue with Trisha anymore and he just wanted it to be over, so he got complacent. Another reason Ethan didn't want to air the episode was because he found out Trisha was secretly recording them. They didn't just record the episode. According to Ethan, they recorded personal conversations before and after filming. Ethan says finding this out was devastating. Having someone come into your own house, record your personal conversations, and then hold them over your head that they'll release them, Ethan feels like it's just such a violation of privacy. So after this episode aired, everyone was bracing for probably the longest and messiest response video from Trisha in the history of response videos. But instead of responding, Trisha actually deleted all of their enemies episode and then uploaded this video titled No More Enemies. Trisha pretty much says they're done with drama and they're moving on to live this drama-free, peaceful life. They never acknowledged Ethan or the episode, they just said they're done with drama. But I mean, do we really believe that Trisha Paytas is actually done with drama? I really don't think so. People are actually now starting to get a little bit worried because Trisha has been on such a high since Ethan posted this episode. They've been doing tons of shopping, posting videos saying they're spending all their money on Gucci, and just completely ignoring the huge elephant in the room. Trisha recently said on Dr. Drew that spending is a big issue for them and seems to be something they do when they're trying to fill a void. And that's what's happening right now.
Hey guys, so I order packages. I order a lot of packages, specifically on Amazon. So today we're gonna go through my Amazon packages. Okay, so for the first Amazon box were hangers and this volleyball inflatable game.
A lot of people think this high is gonna go really low soon, and the response videos to Ethan are gonna be crazy. Anyways guys, let me know what you think about everything down below. If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up button because it really does help my channel, and I'll see you next time.